Hello and welcome to our podcast. Today we have Angie Ullman with Olsson and Associates.
Yes, it's Olsson. Yep. We go by Olsson.
Great,
You're
great.
good.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Royalty Roofing and Siding. My name is Nelson Caturo. I am the Business Development Manager here at Royalty Roofing. Welcome, Angie.
Thank you very much.
So, just very quickly, just go ahead and maybe share a little bit about yourself, how you got into this position. I know you got some kids.
Yes.
Share with
So,
everyone.
like Mel said, I'm Angie Ullman. I have been in the AEC industry. I think, Mel, we met almost 25 years ago. If you can
Let's say that.
I just said those words. Started with an engineering firm here in town, smaller in size, switched over to another engineering firm. I've held multiple marketing, communications, and business development roles. Went to a construction company and then missed engineering. So I'm back in engineering.
Yes.
And I serve on the corporate business development team for Olsson.
That's just wonderful.
Yes. Loving it very much. It's an awesome company, awesome culture.
And married with 3 kids.
I'm married with 3 children. Actually, 2 of my kids are focused on engineering as well. My oldest is studying civil.
And where was she at?
She has been in Hawaii for the entire summer.
I
Yes. So she loved every minute of it. Kiewit actually gave her that opportunity.
Yes.
And hired her as an intern. So she spent her whole summer in Honolulu. She came home 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
And she's been wonderful. My middle one is a senior this year, and she's planning to study environmental engineering. And we're working on the youngest to be a mechanical engineer.
Your husband's not an engineer, so
He's a software engineer. I'm the talker.
oh my gosh, engineering.
I know. They've spent my whole career in engineering.
I love that. I love that. Well, today we're going to talk about networking and business relationships and kind of how important that is. I think, us living here in Omaha, we all know it's all relationship driven. You've got some nice points you want to talk about regarding networking.
Yeah.
So why does it matter? Let's just jump in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, when I think about if I think about myself 25 years ago, where I would even start out to begin thinking about how to build a network and where would I even go? I always want to know the why. I want to know why it matters. And I think there was a book that was written many, many years ago, so many years ago that I'm not sure I quite remember the title, but there's a theory identified in it. It's called the pie theory. And the pie theory is focused on performance, exposure.
Yeah.
So performance, impact, and exposure. Performance being that's the core of what you do every single day. That's about 10% of your career and your career success. Impact is more of like your attitude, your professionalism, and that's more of 30%, according to this theory, of your success. And 60% of your success is based on the exposure that you have. Who knows what you can do? How have you leveraged your network? How have you built your network? And so I always like to start with why it matters and how it impacts your career, because most people want to know what's the benefit to them overall. There's a lot of time commitments in our lives. Our kids are demanding, our jobs are demanding, our lives can be. So it's like, how are you going to allot those time frames? So I always like to start with the why it matters. And so that was an interesting theory. One of the ideas, when I go to do networking, one thing that I've done most of my networking starting with organizational involvement, and I'll get to that. But really, when I did networking and when I wanted to build what that network looked like, I really wanted to focus on I think the most successful trait has been be vulnerable.
Yes.
I'm not an engineer.
No.
So I had to be willing to admit
Yes.
that I wasn't an engineer and that I didn't know exactly.
You can't fake that.
No.
You're not going to fake it until you make you say, I can't fake being an engineer.
Absolutely not. No, it's not. I work with some really smart people that do that very well. I'm not an engineer, so I will never pretend to be one.
Right.
Same is true with specific industries. I don't know that I knew every market that I was going to be doing marketing, business development, or communications for. So again, I had to be willing to admit and be curious and know, like, hey, I need help here, and be willing to admit that. So that's been a big piece of networking success for me.
I think that's really important that you say that, because some people feel like they can't go into something because they don't know everything about it.
Right.
That's our skill set is we're both outgoing people. We like to get in front of people. I'm talky. I talk a lot. and, and chatty and things like that. But that's why you're in your position because it's the skills that you brought, not the skills that you're going to pretend to have.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and I'll never forget that I started doing business development more focused on the healthcare space.
Yes.
That was a new space for me. I spent most of my career in infrastructure and municipalities or municipal spaces. And so healthcare was just a completely new space for me.
Mhm.
And so when I first sat down with somebody that was within a healthcare facility, I had to sit with them and I had to own that, hey,
Yep.
you're talking about something that I don't know that I fully understand. Can you explain that to me? Help me understand because I want to come in and talk about my company to you. But I don't want to talk about it to you in the sense that I'm just trying to sell you something.
Mhm.
I want to know if you truly can impact and make a difference in your business.
Right. And you won't know that unless you start asking questions.
And be willing to admit that you don't know everything.
You want those details so that you can find where are we a good fit for a partnership.
Absolutely.
So that's all good.
Yeah.
And then I know, so listening, being authentic, we've talked about a few of those things. I love the part about being authentic. And when you first start out after you're younger, that's a scary thing. It's really scary to be authentic because you're a people pleaser, but you don't know if they will like you. So you kind of put up a little bit of I don't want to say a mask, but you're not completely true to yourself yet.
Correct. I would agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that when I was younger, I felt like I needed to say certain things
Yep.
and behave certain ways and try to give off a certain vibe. And as I've gotten older, I've learned like I just need to be who I am.
Mhm.
And be okay with that and know that I'm not going to say everything perfectly, not that I'm going to do everything perfectly, but just accept that I'm not actually going to. But that's what the team is for. I don't know how many times I've done something or I've been around people who are like, let's shore each other up because someone's going to step into something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I said that way. One of us is going to step in it. And how are we going to help each other out of it
Yes.
rather than any other approach? And so I'm all about the team. And that's truly my passion and where I love to live in that space.
Yeah. Well, you have how many people are on your team?
In Olson,
Yes.
we have a little over 2,000 people. Yeah. So my specific team, I'm on the corporate business development team. So we're a little bit smaller, but we're more of a firm-wide support
Mhm.
in a number of ways. Healthcare team actually has, I believe there's 27 people specifically allocated to healthcare, but we have more than 100 MEP engineers nationwide.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool when you think about the capacity that we could be doing within that space. It's super exciting to be a part of.
Awesome. So managing the conversation. Let's
Yes.
talk about that. I saw some notes that we shared with each other. I'm like, it sounds, how do you manage it? I mean, conversations just happen.
Right.
But really, there are certain things that you can do to not necessarily take control of the conversation because you don't want to be the person that's talking over everybody. And I mean, I have a tendency to talk a bit too much sometimes, but you want to have, you want to kind of guide it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, some of the tips that I've used, I don't know if I remember when I was younger being in a conversation a couple of times and I felt like maybe I wasn't of interest to the person that I'm just talking to. You know, you can see him looking around the room for that.
Yeah, look,
We've all been there. So like part of me managing the conversation, I do believe is making like having good nonverbals and good conversation with them and be genuinely interested in what they're saying. So that's a step one. But then asking those open-ended questions and be curious. It's a Maya Angelou quote is people will never remember what you said. They'll never remember what you did, but they'll always remember the way that you made them feel. And so in your interactions in business development or networking, it's all about how you make people feel. So asking those open-ended questions, you have to practice. So I was telling you that I have a degree in journalism. That's one of the things they teach you in journalism class is to ask open-ended questions rather than yes/no questions.
right.
To keep the conversation going, to help you find what I like to call common ground. So where's the common ground? Where do we have that likeness that we can build upon? Because you don't want to make the conversation awkward for anybody.
Well, and it doesn't always have to be as not necessarily a business common ground.
Correct.
We're both mothers. I had a conversation this morning over coffee and, we had a lot of things in common that were more personal than we did on the business side. But when you started having those conversations and you see how much you have in common or the like-mindedness, and so you can just it really strengthens your connection. And then, just kind of having that trust built because they're like, oh, she's kind of like me. We think the same way, or she's done what I've done, or she understands, things happen.
Right. Right. Absolutely. That commonality really kind of, and it's just a seed, right? It's not the whole relationship.
No.
That's where you begin. And when you have that commonality, then you can start building upon that and just growing that relationship and that rapport. And right. It's just, I don't know, empathy, lead with empathy is my other, I guess, nugget. Because if you have that common ground, you may understand where they've been or what they've had to experience, or at least trying to understand that. When you lead with empathy, that can make a huge difference in a relationship as well.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to explain the empathy part to your kids?
Yes.
Okay, big things have don't necessarily say things.
Right. Right. Like sit down. I just want you to think about it maybe from their perspective.
Exactly.
When you said this, how do you suppose that made them feel? I mean, how would you feel? And
Yeah.
sometimes walking them through that
Yeah.
makes a huge difference in them understanding why they shouldn't say the things that they do.
Exactly. Exactly. So going back to networking, so I know that we're both in several networking groups and things like that. Well, I'm going to go back to just a second to what makes you, or how do you decide which networking organizations are best for you?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because there's so many out there.
There's
I'm
so
in
many.
quite a few, but I mean, I kind of switch around. But you want to have the biggest impact in there.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a really good question. I think you and I met at the Society for Marketing Professional Services.
Me too.
And at the time, I think for me, it's always dependent on the season of life that I'm in.
Mhm.
So at the time I had started with a firm here in town, I really didn't know anything about the AEC industry. I didn't understand proposals. I didn't understand business development and what that space looked like. I had come from a company that was more about power tool sales.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
You could put a product in someone's hand and they go, oh, that feels good. And you don't generally sell it that way. But when you start selling people, it's a completely different, completely different experience.
100% agree with you. I mean, for what we do, it isn't quantity. It's like, well, how many services can I sell?
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right. No, you're selling partnerships, and solutions and innovations. And so really it takes a lot more to understand maybe what the client is experiencing, what those challenges are. And I really didn't know that until I joined SMPS and really started I think that's like kind of the foundation for me. So knowing what my role in careers wanted to be and what I thought it should be, I knew SMPS was the right place for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so after a number of years there, I thought, okay, now I'm in this specific market. And so I want to learn everything I can about a market. So that's when I had joined, I think I had joined Keep Omaha Beautiful because they were very environmentally driven. I had a passion for the environment, but then it was also something that my firm did.
Right.
So I think it's always dependent on the season of life that I'm in as to how I determine it. One is usually market driven and one is usually like professionally driven in terms of what my expertise is. So I can grow myself professionally, but then also understand the market, the space in which I'm at.
Yeah. So of all the organizations that we have out there, I know we're in a couple together.
Yes.
But one of them I know that you're very passionate about because you started the chapter here.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you for the softball. I would love to tell you about women in healthcare. So I love telling the story about women in healthcare because it is, again, I had no idea. I have to be willing to admit this. I had no idea. I had met a small group of women within the healthcare space when I was doing business development, completely focused on healthcare at the time. And I was like, wow, these women are amazing. It would be awesome to schedule a happy hour with just them on a monthly basis and just, I don't know, mentor each other. And I could learn from them and they're willing to do this. And what a great partnership it could be. And so I scheduled a happy hour. And one of the women that came to the table, because I pulled it Women in Healthcare Happy Hour, I had no idea what I was doing. And one of the women came to the happy hour and she's like, oh my gosh, is this like the Denver group? And I was like, you don't have any idea.
You seriously didn't know?
I had no idea.
It was a national organization.
I had no idea. So I said, but I'll tell you what, I'll take the action and go back and make a phone call. So I did. I went back and I made a phone call and I called the president of the national organization who kindly took my phone call. And I said, tell me more. Tell me how you got started. And she started to talk about it. And she started to talk about kind of what the drivers were and the pillars. Their pillars are focused on networking, mentorship, healthcare education, and helping women get a seat at the table where they want to be seated. So it's not necessarily women who want to be at an executive level only, but it's for women at all levels and wherever they want to go, and giving them the tools and the abilities like negotiation skills or leadership skills or whatever that looks like for each individual woman. That's what the organization is about. And so there were quite a few women here in town. We formed we say I founded it. We founded it. I would say that it was just, I happily made a happy hour. I called it that. But it's
See what happens when you set up happy hours?
I know.
You become a president of a job.
a long time. So what we did is there was a gal, Rebecca Klein, here in town. Yes, she and I started brainstorming and thinking through it. And we started making phone calls and we said, hey, would you be interested? We started reaching out to different health systems, saying, what do you guys think? We started doing research. We researched it probably for a year to make sure that we would be in line with the other healthcare organizations that already existed. We don't want to, right?
Especially in this town.
They're great. And yes, they are impactful for their membership. So we wanted to make sure we weren't in, I guess, disagreement with them, but more in alignment.
Right.
And so after doing all of that, and we brought together a team of people from the Med Center, Children's Hospital, Boys Town. I think Methodist was in there at the beginning. We had a number of consultants and architects and engineers, contractors that were all at the table. And we said, what do we think? Do we think that we could do this?
Okay.
And everyone thought we could. So we started for a full year of planning, started saying, who do we want to be? Where do we want to reach? What do we even want to name ourselves? And then what got really exciting is we started planning our first event. And I'll never forget the phone call that we took. And the president said, okay, temper your excitement, ladies. It usually takes almost a year to get to, they put you basically in what they call kind of an initiation in a positive way, in that you're kind of in a mode where you're not a full initial chapter until you reach a certain membership level. And so I think we had to hit 60 members before you could be an official chapter. And I think it was 60 days in.
Yeah.
We hit our 60 members.
Yeah.
So we are now. I know. It's so exciting. We were just like jumping for joy.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. And so the first full year, we kind of went through and we were planning events and we didn't want to overdo it, but we didn't want to underdo it.
Yeah.
So what's been really nice is this last year, we were able to sit down and really kind of be much more strategic. Yes. Who are we? Where do we want to go? What do we want this to be? So we actually are coming up to the end of the first official strategic year. We've done business planning. We've done programming planning. I think we developed standard operating procedures. Like we've gone through the whole gamut of just making sure our organization is functioning at a high level so that our sponsors see value in it for them, but our membership is also getting out of it what they can. So our next coming up events, we have, we're partnering on one in October. So ASHE, the national organization, is bringing Region A conference back to Omaha.
That's right.
And so they have given us a time slot to have a panel there. So we call that a partnership.
Awesome.
With them. Yep. We have in September, we have Dee Oswald with Kiewit, who is going to present and do a small workshop from 4 to 6 on September 18th. But she's going to talk about personal branding and kind of her path and how she got to the leadership track within Kiewit. And they are sponsoring everything. So it is actually free to women healthcare members. And this is a collaboration partnership with Crew. So it is also free to Crew members.
Oh, well, I'm going.
Yes, it's going to be really good. Dee's amazing. And so we want
That's in September.
It's in September. So we just started promoting that. And then actually next week, we kick off our mentorship programs.
Yep.
So,
that's right.
yep. So we have a lot of things cooking and we're going to keep going.
And you're still president?
I'm still president. Yes. And I love it. I love every minute. I was like, I hope I can stay president another year. Just because I don't know where to go.
Well, and I mean, you always have that first year of sort of building everything up, and then you just want to kind of enjoy the second year of seeing everything come to fruition. Spend so much time.
And honestly, the women that are on this board, I can't thank them enough. brilliant. They challenge me every single meeting we have. I'm like, we didn't even think about it that way, or I didn't consider that. And I always, the vice president and I work together closely, and I always giggle because I'm like, you are the yin to my yang, because I need people that are different in the way that I think, so that I can like get a really good picture of where we need to go. Heather Cook with UNMC Nebraska. Yes, she's an amazing partner in this process. So, and then our whole board. Yeah, I mean, it's just been.
I found just I enjoy being part of the organization.
Oh, sure.
And I just like the variety of topics that you guys have.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of women in healthcare, you're like, are they going to talk all about medicine stuff and whatever? But it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think when we started Women in Healthcare here in Nebraska, there had to be some clarification, because really women in healthcare is more about the side of the hospital systems or the healthcare systems. That's more, I say administration, it's not administration, but it's more like the engineers, the architects,
Yes.
the planners, the construction teams, those people that maybe not be doing patient care directly, but helping those that do the patient care. And that's the Women in Healthcare is there to support.
No, it's a great organization. I highly recommend it. What other organizations are you in?
So I'm actually on the board of Keep Nebraska Beautiful.
Are you still working in there?
I am. So I was on Keep Omaha Beautiful for a number of years. I loved that organization. It was an awesome one to be a part of. So I was approached by somebody 6 years ago now to join the board of Keep Nebraska Beautiful. I applied and was admitted to the board. I'm serving currently as the secretary with with AI and everything else. I'm like, how can I use this? That's much better now.
I was swearing I'll do anything but secretary. I don't want to take notes. I don't
I'll be doing that. But I do it. And then I watch the recording to make sure I got it correct. But so I'm currently serving as the secretary on Keep Nebraska Beautiful, and it's got some amazing programs as well. I don't know that everybody knows about them, but there's the whole materials exchange program. There's the school chemical cleanup program that they manage. There's a lot of school systems in rural communities that don't know what to do with some of their hazardous waste that have been sitting there for 20 years, and so you can reach out to Keep Nebraska Beautiful and help problem solve that. So the materials exchange program is another one that I love because you might have, say, a large health system that's renovating, and they can take their materials and call Keep Nebraska Beautiful. They'll log it in a spreadsheet, and then if you have a health system in rural Nebraska or other parts of Omaha, even saying, "Hey, I need 3 cubicles, 3 chairs." Generally, the stats can range. Yeah, and just reduce it. And Keep Nebraska Beautiful facilitates that conversation.
I'll see that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. So it's a lot of waste diversion.
Yes,
which is really exciting as well.
it is.
Yeah, I love that organization too.
So networking, so crucial to the work that we do. I mean, actually, networking, I am highly recommended to everybody. Again, this is a small city and it's relationship driven, and you just never know what your relationship. I mean, I've known you for, like you already said out loud, 25 years.
Yeah.
So
I already admitted that.
And we've been in different companies during this time, but we've always stayed connected to each other. And that's critical.
Absolutely. Well, and the other piece that I always like to share is, I think when I joined SMPS, I'm an extrovert, but holy Hannah, was that intimidating, right?
Yeah.
If you walk in and you're like, everybody already knows each other.
I know. They walk in little circles.
I know. So how do I do this?
You got to just go start going.
Or find somebody like the one person you.
Yes. Yes. And then they'll take you around.
Yeah. And then the other piece is just get involved with that right away.
Don't just join, get involved.
Yeah. Be on a committee, I loved when I was on SMPS, and when I joined that, I loved the fact that I could fail at leadership in a safe space.
Yes.
I was given the opportunity to be on the board, and I thought, oh my gosh, these people, I have got them fooled.
No idea what I'm doing.
I have no idea. But just that partnership with my industry peers, like you and Bart and Mike Bank, and I got an email the other day saying, hey, we're going to do this celebration. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the people that helped teach me this industry. And they were potential competitors. It didn't matter. There was a combat.
That's something right there people need you to remember. Now I run into other roofing companies, obviously, out there. you can partner up on projects.
Correct.
You can, if that's not the right fit for you and it's a good fit. I mean, we refer projects to other people as well.
Absolutely.
So, but SMPS was my first, I was the president one year, but the biggest time I spent was in programming, doing the
Yes. I think we were on programs together.
that's the hardest committee in my opinion. And I learned a lot and I have taken that to other organizations when I'm involved with their committees.
I
So,
completely agree. That takes next level organization.
exactly. Exactly. Was there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I don't think so. I really appreciate you having me here. And like the fact that you asked me to do this it's absolutely humbling.
Oh,
You're
you're fantastic. I mean, you're perfect for that topic.
well, thank
And
you.
I love that you started at women in healthcare. That's amazing. Nice feather in your hat there.
Well, it's just, I mean, like I said, I needed to learn the market, and that is what taught me the market.
Yeah.
One of the pillars is healthcare education. And honestly, I needed to immerse myself so I understood what the challenges were that my clients were facing. So it was like, would be very useful to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it has been great for you.
Yeah.
Also said. So.
It's been fantastic. And just the people that I've met. And like I said,
Mhm.
surrounding yourself with people smarter than you, that's an amazing thing to do.
That's the way to go.
That's what I
Well, thank you so much for being here and appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll see you at the next networking event.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.